everybody, and welcome to our I've Decided podcast. I'm Kim Martin, founder of I've Decided, and we are going to be talking about our weekly winning word this week. This is the week of the 4th of July, Independence Day. We celebrate America's birthday, and I know I, for one, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. I am so thankful and so grateful to live here in America and for all of the gallant, brave men and women who have stood for our independence and fought for that. So I know, Greg, you feel the same way, right?
Oh, absolutely. Seeing the American flag flying all over, it just kind of brings that heartwarming, proud, brave, gallant feeling. And I have the same feeling you have.
Absolutely. So I think it's just so funny that our word this week is gallant. It just fell perfectly into this holiday week. And so I am excited to have my guest here with me, Greg Eberle. Hi, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
Great. And there's good reason for you to be here because this word fits what you do very well also. So Greg, you're the manager out at Hopedale Wellness Center, but you also are very involved with the Special Olympics. And so when we talk about gallant, the definition of gallant, actually, I want to tell you guys, it's showing courage or being very brave. So courageous and brave, that's what the word gallant means. So, one of the things I talk about in the weekly winning article that I send out to all of our members, Greg, is that, fear is the biggest thief of our goals and dreams.
Absolutely.
And it has a good purpose, but it also can feed us false information and cause us to make decisions that maybe we shouldn't make out of fear. And so obviously I didn't even realize this, but you were sharing the motto for the Special Olympics. So I want you to share that, but I just want to kind of hand the floor over to you a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do out at the Hopedale Wellness Center, and also the Special Olympics, and share that motto that you guys have because it fits so perfectly.
Well, thanks for having me here and everything. I am the manager of the Hopedale Wellness Center out at the Hopedale Medical Complex. I've been there for about 14 years. I'm an athletic trainer by profession, and I've been doing this for 30 years. I deal with a lot of young athletes. I deal with a lot of active adults. In my workplace. And then with Special Olympics, it's something that I've been involved with for 14 years.
Wow.
It all started with giving a donation in a boot that looked like a foot. And next thing you know, here I am leading our medical team for the state of Illinois.
Wow.
It's been a wonderful, wonderful journey, and that I'm continuing to move forward on. And it's, when you talk about, your topic today, gallant, gallant, that word, it encompasses everything that we do, out at Hopedale, being brave, being courageous, as everybody did, during the COVID, times, we saw a lot of brave young men and women, step up to the plate. We see that in our playing fields with our young high school athletes, being brave, being courageous, stepping outside of those comfort zones, being able to, do things that they never thought they can do. But, working with Special Olympics, that is, it holds a special place in my heart. I've been doing that, working with Special Olympics for about 14 years. And when I read your article, I couldn't help but think of the motto, for Special Olympics, which is, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Isn't that awesome?
And that when you hear that spoken with thousands and thousands of athletes at one time in an arena, it just, it makes you pause, and appreciate the environment that you're in and who you're serving, and who you serve outside of that environment. How can we as individuals be brave in our attempt to do anything that we want to do, but as you stated before, that fear factor, and that, being able to work through your fears to become brave and courageous, That's no easy task.
No.
That's no easy task. And I think that is a topic that everybody fights each and every single day, especially in our world today. It's not an easy world right now, and it's tough. So, being able to be courageous,
just to walk out of our
just
door.
to walk out of our door
Today takes
Exactly.
takes courage.
Oh, absolutely, you have to have courage. But you know what? Courage is all about your mindset
Mhm.
and everything. Because your mind will tell you stories
Yeah.
and stories and stories. You know what? And the stories that you believe are the stories that you're going to live. And you got to be careful, because the human mind is a very, very, very complex thing, and it will tell you a lot of stories. And it's the ones that you believe are the ones that you're going to live. And I think everything from the Special Olympics to our athletes at the high schools to our patients in the hospital, you see how it all integrates into our society.
Mhm.
And I think it's a barrier, but yet it's something that we need to continue to work towards, because that's how we're going to thrive in today's world.
And we got to continue to educate people, and that's why we do this.
Yes.
That's why we're here at I've Decided, is to help people recognize their mindset and how your brain really does work.
Absolutely.
And I think for so long, our brain is designed to keep us alive, right?
Absolutely.
That's what its job is,
100%.
to keep us alive and comfortable. And so anything that would interfere with that, that your brain would think would harm you or make you uncomfortable, it's going to work against you.
Absolutely.
But here's the kicker. It's based on what you know. It's based on your life experiences, and it's based on what's been told to you.
Absolutely.
So it's been programmed, and some of that information is good and real and true, quality information.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of that information that is not true,
right,
that you've got to really work at figuring out what is that, like exactly what you said. What am I going to believe?
Right.
What is the truth here?
Well, and I think when you talk about belief, I think it's your resources of life. Where are you getting your information from? Are you reading a book? That in a historical book, or are you looking at things on social media? What are you believing? What are you seeing? What are you feeding your mind on a constant basis? Because persistence and consistency in any kind of input is going to be impactful, and I believe that's going to chart your course of actions. What you're going to believe, what you're going to see, what you're going to hear, and everything. So I think it's all habitual. I think there's I think developing good habits. That's one thing we teach with our young athletes. Good habits, and how habits, seem to work together in order to create good decisions. For example, we have 10 rules with some of the athletes that I train. First one here, number one rule is focus. What are you focused on? Are you focused on the violence? Are you focused on love? Are you focused on your performance? What are you focused on? Because whatever your brain is focused on, consciously or subconsciously, that is where your behaviors are going to turn towards and everything. So looking at that focus, and then as we go through those, the 10 rules, I'm not going to get deep into it because we go very deep into it, but it goes.
Well, you'll have to come back another podcast,
will.
And we'll have to tune in and learn all those 10 rules.
But our 10 rules, they follow suit with each other, and we go, and our first rule goes to our 10th rule, which is our golden rule, is never quit.
Right.
No matter what.
Never.
You know what? And that 10th rule falls in number, always be uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is how you grow.
Yes, I know. And we're struggling with that in our society today.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a total label. I was going to say nobody. Some people do, but the percentage of people who want to push themselves outside of their comfort zones, who want to be uncomfortable, is getting less and less.
That's right.
There's a large percentage of people who are saying, no, I don't like that.
Right.
No, that makes me feel weird. No, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And it's like, there's no growth there. You're just going to stay stagnant and not become the best version of yourself. And we can't have that. We just can't have that, because we're designed to continue to grow from the moment we take our first breath as babies until the day we take our last breath, which hopefully at least 100. But,
Right.
obviously we don't all get there. But till the day we take our last breath, we have to constantly be striving to grow and be better.
But I think people are satisfied, and I think that, there's been a lot of good and a lot of bad, but at the end of the day, you got to work for what you want. I think we've gotten into a mindset that we're owed something, and really we're owed nothing.
Right. If we got what
I mean, if we
I always say, if I got what I deserved, I
right,
wouldn't even be sitting here
right.
today. It would be terrible.
And I think working hard for what you want and everything, that's your reward. Just me personally, something just handed to me. If I don't feel like I work for it, then you know what, that's great. I appreciate that, but you know what, the reward of your hard work,
Right.
That's a very deep, feeling that one has,
Right.
and
It's funny. I
think
always say I can't play the lottery.
you can.
If I win, what am I going to work toward? It's
Right.
like, I don't want to just win the lottery. I want to
Absolutely.
have that money.
Well, absolutely. We all do. Absolutely.
Right. But I want to work for it.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I want to earn it and feel like I did it. We did it.
Absolutely.
But
Well,
it's the same kind of concept though, right? It's
Absolutely.
like going out there buying that lottery ticket, praying, please, Lord, let me win. And it's like,
absolutely.
where's the effort? Where's that work ethic?
Well,
not that there's anything wrong with giving a lottery ticket as a gift every now and then in the Christmas stockings.
I'm not going to give it back. But
we like to do that.
Absolutely.
Fun stuff. But to just, to put your hope in that kind of stuff. That's
sure. Well, I think hard work creates growth.
Yes.
It creates personal growth and everything. When you talk about fulfillment, fulfillment is growth in what you do, service to others, and not and being unselfish, in your actions, and I think when you look at, all these people who put forth their time, their volunteerism, giving back, that's fulfillment and everything. And that's a huge part of our, society is, where am I looking for my fulfillment? Where am I going to be fulfilled and everything? And I think fear holds people back from fulfillment.
Oh, 100%. The good news is that we can overcome these fears. If we're intentional, we can. So again, I want to recognize that fear isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not.
It is a real emotion. Okay. Fear is a real emotion. Your brain triggers fear. If a bear is chasing you and you need to run for your life from the bear, that's a good fear. Or maybe you're thinking about doing something that could harm yourself, something super dangerous or crazy. And your brain's going, no, people died from doing this.
Right.
That's what fear is designed for. It's not a bad emotion.
No.
Fear is not a bad emotion. I want to be very clear about that. The problem with fear is that it can be a liar. Fear can be a liar because it forms based on experiences and based on what's been fed to you. So if you've been told something that's not 100% true, and I gave an example in the article, and I talked about, okay, so let's say your parents, when you were little, they tried their shot at opening their own business. They invested their life savings into opening their own business, and it completely failed, and they lost everything.
Right.
So from the time you've been a little child, all you've heard is something negative about opening your own business. And your parents are going, no, don't do that. You need to get a job. You need to work. You need to get paid, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you're an adult and you have an opportunity to open your own business that could be very lucrative for you. And it fits exactly into what your goals are, what your dreams are, what you've always wanted to do. But what happens? The fear pops in and start saying, no, you're going to lose everything that you have. This is a bad idea, because that was your parents' experience, right?
Because it's all you heard.
It's all you heard.
It's all you heard. Your brain was programmed to hear that. And so your actions are coming from what that persistent and consistent type message that you were always hearing now it plays in that fear factor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we have to start to recognize what those are that comes up. And that's just one example. Could be so
Sure, Kim.
many, and we are our parents' children. As I sit here and listen to you talking about living a life of service and giving back, I know your parents will listen to this podcast. I happen to know your parents, and they're awesome, and they give back and they serve. And just it's cyclical, right? What you hear, what you learn, your parents teach you, you see them doing it. Here you are serving on the Special Olympics and other areas as well. But that's just something that's been programmed into your mind, although that's a good thing to be programmed into your mind.
Absolutely.
It's another example of how things get programmed into our mind. But if someone doesn't have that, they might not see volunteerism or giving back as the big deal that it is, because they haven't had that. But anyway, just another example.
I think that's where when you get back to that work and that service, is putting yourself out in front of others, gaining those experiences, those positive experiences, going out and doing things you would not normally do. Right. Did I ever think that I would be in a position I am, working with the Special Olympics, at the level that I am right now? Not a chance. But you know what? I put myself out there. And I said yes, and was it easy? No, because the task that we were asked to do, there's a heavy responsibility to that. But you know what? It's you move forward with it. You gain those experiences. You network with people, networking with people, and talking to people that have done this before can give you their experiences. You learn from that. I call it putting tools in the toolbox.
Yeah.
You pull tools from every person you talk to, and you put it in your own toolbox. And how you arrange your tools, to be able to utilize them the best way possible. That's kind of the way that I see things and everything, because it's like I've met tons of people. I'll give you an example. Some of my greatest mentors and people I learned from. My first person, Pete Vanaken. I worked for Pete Vanaken as a clubhouse manager for many years with the Peoria Chiefs. When I first started, I was 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. He instilled habits into me. And I'm thinking at first, I'm a teenager. I'm like, seriously? Some of the things, making sure that the clubhouses are clean. The grass stains are out of the players' outfits. That was hard work. But you know what? That was long-lasting habits. Other people, Bruce Sowers, when I worked for the Peoria Rivermen, teaching me, how you have to work for what you get. You should not expect anything to be given to you, because he was a hard-working man and built his own life too. Then I go back to people like Maggie Rutenbeck from the Special Olympics, which is the person that got me started in Special Olympics.
Right.
Her looking at her love and her passion for what she did, and her caring, empathetic, sympathetic, towards Special Olympics and what she does and what she has sacrificed, is like, that's somebody that I want to be like, So you have all these people that come across in your life, and I'm not just saying that those three people are the only people who were impactful in my life.
Those are just examples.
Those are heavy examples, but everything from family. Everything from, going out and just saying hi to somebody on the street, might be somebody that, the good Lord put in front of you for a reason.
Yeah.
But you're never, ever going to get to where you need to be unless you put yourself out there.
Yes. So and the way you do that is to be more organic, right?
Absolutely.
And so the key to kicking fear to the curb, I say, is a gallant mindset. And so there are 3 important things that we focused on this week for our members that we can do to be more gallant. And we've kind of covered some of these, but we want to bring it back into a little package. So you can write these down as you listen and take some good notes and take these back with you and apply them. And the first thing is to do hard things, which you've been sitting here preaching for a little while. That's exactly what we're talking about. Olympics, that's hard. I mean, not everybody gets there.
Absolutely.
And, in Special Olympics, these are people talk about they have to truly overcome some obstacles to even learn how to do the sports that they do. And
the hearts are so big, and the will to want to compete and win and do the best that you can. that's a Special Olympic athlete. It's heartwarming when you go to a Special Olympic event. You'll see athletes supporting other athletes. If somebody is struggling, you're going to see all the athletes, cheering them on. Once again, being brave in the attempt.
Yeah, if you can't win, be brave.
Be brave. You know what? And have good sportsmanship, and you know what? And help others that might need that little extra help.
Yeah.
And that's it's wonderful. So yeah, stepping out and being able to I guess you step out of that comfort zone.
Well, it's exactly what you've been saying. It's like growth happens on the other side of comfort zone. I run. It's one of the things that I do that I think is probably one of the hardest things that I do. And it's hard. Running is not easy.
Absolutely.
And it is a very hard thing. And it was very hard for me because I didn't run my whole life. I didn't start running until I was in my 30s. And if you'd asked me in my 20s, if I would have ever been a runner, I would laugh at you and say I couldn't run from my door to the mailbox. But I started to learn, and then I started to realize, wait, this is hard, but I can do it. Absolutely. This morning we went out at 5:00, and the humidity, you felt like you were swimming.
Absolutely.
It was like we're in Peoria, Illinois, is where we are today on June 5th, and it's like 100 degrees outside. Absolutely. And this morning was one of the most humid days we've had so far this year. But, because I've done it enough, I know I can do it. It was hard. It was super hard. I thought I was going to die the whole time I was running. I'm like, I'm sure I'm about to die at any minute.
Absolutely.
But you keep going because you can do hard things. It's just putting yourself out there.
It is. And I'll tell you a personal story, and it's no surprise. I have Tourette's syndrome.
Okay.
And everything. So, and I laugh about it sometimes because, I get the head shakes. I get the vocal things. But you know what? There's a high level anxiety that comes along with Tourette's syndrome.
Really?
And everything. Okay. And, I've had it all my life. I was diagnosed when I was about 18 years of age, but I have not let that step in front of me being able to do things, in this world, being able to see and do things I would never, ever gotten to see or do in a lifetime.
That's amazing.
And you know what? And it's funny because back in the day, when I had my older athletes, we traveled all over the United States stuff, I had vocal tics. So I was called everything from R2D2 to Dino to whatever. You know what?
I'm laughing with you.
But you know what? But that's a key thing. If you can't laugh at yourself, you know what? And if you put barriers up there, there's nothing you can do. It's the way we are. It's the way God. That's right. Greg. So I'm not going. So I was like, I'm not going to let this prevent me from doing things. I put it out there. I laugh about it. It is what it is. But you know what? You can't let that create a fear of well, what is he going to think about me? What's she going to think about me? That's a lot of times when I do speaking presentations, I always make a joke of it. So everybody knows that if I got a head twitch or something.
It doesn't hold you back because it really just comes off as excitement.
It does. I mask it well.
I was like, he's awful excited. This is great.
I am excited. No, I am excited, but yes.
No,
but I have to and you do that because you find a way to accommodate I don't call it a disability. I call it just it's something I got going on with my brain and with my body. It is what it is.
We try to avoid that word around here.
That's exactly right.
We, as you know, because you're parents, you have a nephew that's a part of PUP.
Absolutely.
And we provide support to PUP, and we love PUP people with unlimited potential, and that is for young adults that I like to say have special abilities.
Absolutely.
And because if we look at disability, there's not a single human being living that doesn't have
Absolutely.
one. And I learned that from my friend Kurt. I don't know if you've met Kurt White. That's a part of. He's in that picture over there that you can see, but he was born without his right arm, and then with a rare dwarfism, and he has a short left arm, and just some real challenges.
Absolutely.
But his message is living life as a handicapable person, and that's what he talks about. He says you can see my disabilities.
Absolutely.
But then he talks about the things that he struggled with, that he's overcome, that were disabilities that you couldn't see. Right? Like alcoholism. Right. You can't see that.
Nope.
We all have something that can hold us back. We all have, whether it's extreme personality or Tourette's, or we were born with a being a little more short than someone, or a little more tall than someone, or, with an extra chromosome that someone else doesn't have,
Absolutely.
or whatever. But we all have to overcome whatever it is that's pulling us, that we feel is pulling us back. We can't give in to that.
Right.
We have to accept it, embrace it.
But and the biggest thing is, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody has whatever they might have, but we have to choose how we want to live. Are we gonna let things handcuff us and prevent us from moving forward? Or are we gonna choose to live the best life right now and everything, and be brave in the attempt and whatever that you do? I see it every single day. You see it every single day.
Everybody
doing hard things. That's how you grow as a person. That's how you grow as a community, and that's so important to embrace.
And it's okay to do hard things.
It is okay.
Stop telling yourself that you shouldn't do hard things.
But
it's a good thing to do a hard thing.
But the other thing you want to do with hard things, it's okay to fail.
Yes. I think that's why people a lot of times don't want to. The fear of failure.
And you know what? You're going to fail more than you succeed. But you know what? You build character through failure and everything, because you learn from it. If you let failure knock you down and keep you down, then you know what? Then failure is winning. But if you fail at something, then you go again and you go again and you learn from it, and you keep it. You be persistent, you consistent, and you get after it. And eventually, you're gonna have those successes. And so fear of failure is a big part of a lot of people's lives. They're afraid to fail because they're afraid that they're going to be a failure to themselves, to others. It's a perception that an individual might have, but if you don't fail, you're not growing.
Failing is a good thing.
Failing is a good thing.
We got to stop looking at failing, because
exactly
if you're failing, you're trying.
Absolutely.
If you're failing, you're doing hard things, and you're trying to do things that you're not maybe super good at yet, or you still need more experience. So I think we look at failure as a bad thing, and that's a whole nother topic.
Oh my gosh, it sure is. That can go right down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's don't do that.
Okay, let's not do that. Okay, I have a bad habit of that.
I love it. I'm having such a good time with you and learning, and all of the insight that you're giving on this. This is great. Okay, so do hard things. And the second thing that you can work on to have a more gallant mindset is to do an evaluation. Okay, so the old pros and cons list, right? Really and truly, when you're faced with a risky endeavor, like you're at a crossroads, and you need to make a decision, and it might be something that's risky. It's like, do I do this? Do I not do this? Is this do I need to move, or do I not need to move? Do I need to take this new job, or stay? Right? Do I take the leap of faith? It's that crossroads that we all face in all kinds of situations. Do I jump? Do I take the leap of faith? And if fear is trying to fill your mind, it almost will flood you in a situation like that. The best way you can counteract it is to truly stop and do an evaluation and an assessment of the whole situation. Write out the pros.
Absolutely.
Write out the cons. Ask yourself 2 questions. What's the worst thing that could happen? What's the absolute worst thing that could happen? I've done this my whole life. My first job was at McDonald's. And as you say, talking about those people that mentor you, I didn't know it at the time. I learned this. It was an interesting story how I found this out. But anyway, I had no idea at the time, but at 15 and 16 and 17 years old, I worked at McDonald's, and I was trained so well. They had the best training program really I've ever seen. I don't know if they still do it, but it turns out I was working for one of the best franchisees within the whole McDonald's organization, who owned some McDonald's in Mobile, Alabama, where I was from. And I know, and in hindsight, I'm like, well, no wonder it was the best, because he trained at 15 years old. He trained me like I was an executive director or something,
Absolutely.
I mean, like he was molding me into the best little, fast drive-through tenant he could have.
Absolutely.
I learned how to upsell. I mean, at 15 years old, I learned what an upsell was, and so anyway.
He was invested. They were invested in you to help you with and I find that the same way, is that you don't realize how much people invest in you because they see a potential in you,
Yeah.
but that you never ever know until you get to an
Yeah.
age and it's like, hey.
But the point is, I always say to myself, the worst case scenario is I can get a job at McDonald's.
Right.
I'm not going to go hungry.
That's exactly
if
right.
At the absolute worst case scenario, if I try this and it doesn't work out and I can't earn a living, then I can go apply at McDonald's. And I'm pretty sure I have the qualifications to get a job there.
Absolutely.
And that's the worst case scenario in my mind. So it's like, then I'm going to do it. What is the absolute? So you ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario?
Absolutely.
And then the other question is, what's the best thing?
Absolutely.
What could be the best scenario that could come out?
100%. When you talk about evaluation, I think organizing your mind, your thoughts. Once again, it comes by. I think it comes with all the input that you get from others. But one of my ways that I deal with my self-evaluation is asking the power of why.
Yes.
Why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it's going to follow it. It's going to take you to a point that you're going to get to a deeper level. Is why am I making these decisions and everything? And I think I like using the power of why. In my personal evaluation process, I use that because now I can kind of peel away the banana, peel away to what the true essence is as to why I'm making the decisions that I'm making. And then I can make a more informed choice as to which way I'm going to turn in my evaluation process.
And at the end of the day, I was told this once by one of my mentors, if fear is the only thing on your list, then that is not a good reason to not do it. Right. If fear is the only thing holding you back from making the decision, you should always go for it. Absolutely. And I just got chills when I said that.
Absolutely.
Because it does give you chills because it is so important for us to realize the power of fear. Fear steals our opportunities and it truly prevents us from tapping into that full potential. Fear is a good thing when necessary,
Absolutely.
but if we're not using it in the proper way, it really is a thief.
It can suck the life right out of you, to a point of, that depression or the sense or you question your self-worth and everything. So don't let fear stop you from doing what you love to do.
That's right.
Or want to do. And
the third thing is, and we've talked about this quite a bit too, you're talking about it with your mentors, but seek wisdom. Absolutely. There's so many. I love that scripture that says nothing new under the sun, right?
Right.
Everything that can be done has pretty much already been done.
Right.
And so you can find someone, nothing is a better teacher than experience. Right?
Absolutely.
Experience those failures in your lifetime,
Absolutely.
those experience hindsight 2020,
Absolutely.
whatever you want to call it. Experience, there's no better teacher, but the next best thing is to talk to someone who has accomplished what you want to accomplish.
Absolutely.
If you know someone who successfully achieved the goal that you're working towards, why would you not want to talk to that person?
I always say, not everybody knows everything.
Okay. Really?
I know. But you're right. You become who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
You take on those mindsets, you're taking on, those ideals. Doesn't mean you have to be like that person, but it means that if you take that in, make yourself your own person, but utilize those resources. Oh, there's so many people out there that are so wise in what they do, and you might do things one way, but they may say, hey, try a little bit, try this. And all you got to be able to do is listen. Open your ears, close your lips, and listen, more. You'll be amazed
at what you learn.
You'll be amazed at what you learn and what the world can offer you. But I think a lot of times we let our lips do more than our ears do and everything. And I think that clouds a lot of those wonderful resources that many, many people have. So that would be my suggestion is if you're going to, get those mentors, talk to people, get to know people, but close your lips, open your ears, listen, because you might just hear something that might impact your life, and it could be a game changer.
Yeah. And the thing about seeking wisdom is there's so many ways. I mean, obviously experience is a wisdom, teaches us wisdom. Mentors, coaches, meeting with people who have experienced successfully what you're trying to do. You can seek higher education, information, workshops, seminars, conferences. I mean, they're reading books, self-help books. There's so much. But the great thing about wisdom is that the more you know, the more you're confident. The more you know about a subject matter, the more confident you're going to be in that subject matter, right? And like you said, doesn't matter if you've worked in a career your whole life. I mean, we've worked in wellness our whole lives, about the same amount of years. But we still learn. I mean, I still learn something new every day, right?
Every day. If you stop learning, then you're in trouble. You should learn one new thing each day. And it doesn't have to be this big grand thing. Find one thing to learn new each day. And guess what? That's growth. That's how you're going to grow, is by picking up nuggets of information and learning from it, and walking away. It could be the color of a wrapper, but you know what? You learned that the color of the inside of this wrapper is this. You've learned something. That's how cognitively your brain develops, is by constantly feeding the information.
And here's the beauty of wisdom: if you seek it, you will find it.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, those are the three things. There's plenty, but those are the three things that we really focused on this week within our I've Decided community, of how we can grow that stronger mindset. Do hard things, evaluate the situation, seek wisdom. And I want to just encourage all of you listening and tuning in. I want to say thank you. And Greg, thank you so much for being on the show. What an amazing, this guy's great. I could talk to you all day, every day. Like I feel so fired up. I'm like, what can I do next?
Well, I have this bad habit of just, I just talk.
Well, maybe that's why I'm having so much fun, because we're the same.
Well, thanks for keeping me on track, because you get me on one subject matter, I can go right down this rabbit hole, and oh boy, we can go a whole different direction. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. I will just appreciate your feedback and all the great insight that you gave us today. So in our community every week in the weekly winning resource, we give out a challenge. And so I just want to leave you guys tuning in with this, because I just think this is a great challenge for all of us. All right. What is something you would do if fear wasn't holding you back? So if you didn't have a fear of losing money, or fear of not having enough time, or fear of what people would think, or fear of failure, right? What is it that the little froggy that rides around on your shoulder that's like, you should do that. You should do that. It'd be great. What's that one thing? And so I really want to encourage you to evaluate the situation, to really sit down and think it through. What are the pros? What are the cons? What's the worst thing that could happen? Seek out some wisdom.
Absolutely.
Talk to someone who's been down the path that you're wanting to go. Get some feedback from someone that's smarter than you, and and ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the best thing that can happen? And just take some time to really figure it out. And maybe you might realize you should go for it.
And the one last thing I would say, and be honest with yourself. Sometimes we try to fool our own selves.
Yes.
And that creates havoc. Be honest and true to yourself, and I tell you, your fulfillment will grow exponentially. But be honest with yourself.
Yeah, that's great advice. Great advice, Greg. Greg Eberle, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed our I've Decided podcast this week, and you will tune into our next episode coming up. Every week we have an episode for you. Have a rest of a good week, I suppose. Thanks.